Listen, I'm just saying the last one I feel like was a little like too calm, where you guys kind of agreed. I
Yeah.
don't think there's a world we're agreeing today.
Oh no, I don't
There's
think so.
no
I don't think
way.
so at all. We just can't agree on this.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's what makes for interesting
Yeah.
discussion.
Were any of us on the same page yesterday? I think we were all sort of.
No.
All of us disagree, but all of us disagree for different reasons. All right. Well,
Um.
I guess we're back again on another podcast. Woohoo!
You're seeing
Couldn't find
this.
anyone else, so fucking.
Dorelius is back again, bro. Oh my god.
If you're seeing this, it's probably 2026. So just based on the
True.
last upload.
Foraging Update Island 2 just dropped, and I just begged him to drop it. You guys are getting it because I'm begging him.
Now this one will hopefully drop within a reasonable time, I believe.
Maybe.
All right.
I guess I'll just start. I guess I'll just start saying inflammatory things, and then
Go
I'll wait
for it.
until you guys respond. So, like, I guess the main argument that I was trying to make last night, and this will be good when it's posted, because then people understand what I'm talking about. My main argument was basically I really think like a good 70% of the grinds in Skyblock should just be like super compressed down. Like really just take the amount of time it takes to do any XYZ thing in this game and just hack off like 70% of that time. So if it takes 100 hours, it shouldn't take more than 30. If it takes 30, it shouldn't take more than like 5 or 6, whatever. And the reason I believe that is because if you look at like the average player of Skyblock, like it's not me or you or it, like, and I'm bad at this game. Like I'm self-admitted terrible at this game. It's the average player is like level 100, 120. You know, they barely have any experience in the mid game. So the concept that I'm trying to go for is I don't believe that the reason that we don't get endgame content is because like making endgame content is harder. The reason we don't get it is because I think that the admins have no incentive to make it because it'll be made for a very small group of people. So if you push people through the mid game, get them into a point where they are like a little bit more in the later parts of the game, you know, we might get more end game content in the future because you won't have to deal with such an extended, bloated mid game where you have to do like thousands of hours of nonsense.
But
Okay.
if
Yeah, you can do
everybody's endgame, then it's not really endgame content. If it like I think the allure behind having this endgame, quote unquote, endgame content is that it's exclusive, it's difficult. If everybody can get to it in 100 hours, then it's like, well, then this is just F7 again.
Well, I'm not really saying, you know, everyone should be able to get to it in exactly 100 hours. I think closer to, you know, 500, 600, 700, 800 hours would be reasonable. But I think certain games do work with like pretty massive groups of endgame players. Like, I mean, this is just from my experience growing up playing Destiny. Like, for a very long time in Destiny, it was extremely easy, like trivially easy to get into the point where you're doing raids on master difficulty, you're getting the best drops in the game. And like that additional grind past that point was usually just for like cosmetic stuff or for god rolls, which don't really like there's not really a specific like analogous comparison in Skyblock. Maybe the closest is something like Chimera, but that was really like the end game grind, right? Like you were max level, you maybe had a lot of the triumphs, but you would go after, for example, different emblems that would go at the end of your character name. That would be kind of the equivalent in Skyblock. You would go after titles, which were like names that appeared below your skin. I think the closest we could think of as Skyblock is, I don't know, imagine you did a ton of M7 and you were able to set your Skyblock levels chat color to be something else entirely. I don't know.
I mean, we have
Like
emblems
there
for
were
that, don't we?
other, I mean, there are emblems, but I think it would be cool if they could expand upon that to begin with. But yeah, that was generally the idea. It's just cosmetic rewards. Dyes would be another thing, skins, stuff like that.
I cannot disagree with that anymore. I'm not gonna lie to you.
What?
And
Fair enough.
my way of putting this is that, like, when you could let's think about something like, because there are optional stuff in the game that makes gameplay a little better. Like one of the main ones, personal bests.
Yeah,
You've probably never touched that other than to just like on accident. You probably never purposely went for it, but it
yeah,
is a maxable stat. There
of
is
course.
incentive to max it.
Hmm.
But when you think about it, how many people have done that?
Very, very
Uh,
few.
Exactly. So why do you think that same idea? Why do you think that adding a lot more cosmetic, like you have to spend 1,000, not maybe not 1,000, but like a few hundred hours on this grind for an emblem, when people won't do it for fortune? That's where
Well,
I'm like,
I
there's
think like
already incentives
Garden
like that.
Garden is already, I think it's just a poor example because like at least with like Destiny content, like what I'm talking about would be much more akin to like dungeons or Kudra or like bosses, etc. Like there's actual interesting gameplay there. I just think the Garden isn't even interesting enough to deserve anything like
We
that.
can just
Like
wipe the
I
garden off the map, and I don't think
Truth
anybody would
Nuke,
be
I,
mad.
I don't think any, yeah, I don't think really anyone would be mad. It's not enjoyable. Like, there's no gameplay there. You're just holding down D on the keyboard. Like, there, I saw like someone in my chat the other day said something ridiculous. They were like, I thought it was crazy at first, but like it's true. Like 40% of the people on the garden at any given point are macroing. It's like that's a ridiculous
Where
percentage.
is
That's
that
like
number from?
so they have in one of the macro like mods, they have the amount of people using the mod like active right now. They have that
Oh
publicly
my.
available. And there's two competing macro mods that are both about as popular as each other, which like they have verified based on like the amount of downloads for both of them. So if one of them alone is 20% of the garden and the other mod is just as popular, then you could kind of extrapolate that about 40% of the people currently on the garden are at least using this macro mod, and that's not including anybody else who is macroing in any other way. Even people like who, for example, are hardware macroing, or they have like I don't know something pressing down a key for them or something stupid like that. Like it's probably greater than 50%. I think 40% is actually a low estimate. So yeah, that was a pretty funny fact to find out.
But it's like, let's be honest, like what's the people macroing on the garden, they're only doing that because first of all it's simple, it's just the easiest to get into and the easiest to macro. People can still macro mining, people macro slayers, people can macro foraging now.
Yeah,
There's a lot more stuff to macro, it's just that on the garden it's the easiest. So to say that is the reason why they should, like, okay, what do you mean by fully getting rid of garden?
like I
We're drawing
truly
the
and honestly
line.
believe I brought this up on stream a few times. Like I think it should fully just be a thing where remember like a very long time ago they wanted to do like a minion personality update. Like, they wanted to give like the minions dumbass personalities or whatever. Like
Yeah.
I think you convert the garden fully into that where it's like pretty much entirely AFK. You have your minions there, you level them up over time. You don't
Wait,
have to actively farm unless you're doing contests. I think contests are fine. I have no problem with them.
wait,
But like
dude.
other than that, I think that's just infinitely better for it.
But
They sh-
like, why?
wait, but
No,
they.
like I don't see
Why?
that
Because
vision
there's
at
no
all.
gameplay. There's no gameplay. Like the current
But there,
gameplay is holding down a button on the keyboard. That's
I
it. There's
know,
no
but like, I'm completely opposite in this. I love the idea of Garden. I think Garden is a genuinely good update. Whether, of course, you disagree with that, but the reason
Mhm.
I say that is I haven't played through the Iron Man like Garden fully, but even Vid can agree with me because you were on the same page. You genuinely said that the beginning, or not the beginning, but
First
like
100
just
hours.
yeah, the first 100 hours of Garden is genuinely enjoyable because it's constant gear upgrades. I personally think it's enjoyable because you have to keep swapping between crops. There's the incentive to go for metals. There's all this grinding in between. And I mean, sure, I've been like on record saying, "Oh, don't make the game based off of Iron Man," but like that's where it's like I don't know, like I'm starting to less disagree with that opinion more as time goes on, but like I genuinely believe that the garden is fun. Sure, like the only bad part of it is I agree is crop milestones. Those are kind of a stretch. As I mean, I don't know what the like crop milestones are definitely high. You don't need to get as many as actually I don't know what is the case with Iron Man of how many fucking potatoes and whatever you need, but
Not that many.
I I would say maybe that could be cosmetic, maybe like cap it out at a certain point where it's like, oh, you get the crop milestone 30 and then we're not going to give it XP. Maybe that could be the only thing I could like see arguable, but to fully like discount any XP from that or any progression from the garden in general is insane.
Well, I
I
don't
think
think
that's where I'll
it's I
stand.
don't think it's insane just because there's no I really am a believer that like when it comes to stuff in this game, like you can make interesting gameplay. You can in Minecraft make very
Oh
good,
yeah.
very fun, interesting gameplay. I don't think we should be like this many years after the game's been released, like encouraging and like I don't know, basically applauding what is fundamentally slop gameplay where you're not actually doing anything, where there's nothing going on for hundreds of hours. Like it's not COVID anymore. Like that most people do not have the time or desire to sit there for 800 hours. You tell somebody about Skyblock and the first thing they tell you nowadays is I don't want to play that game. That game takes way too long to do anything in. And I think like stuff
Not
like
true,
Garden,
but
it is I think it is true for the vast majority. I mean, you can look at the player numbers. They haven't
It's
been
true
going
for
up.
me.
This summer has been like abysmal for player count. You
Oh
would have
yeah.
expected with foraging, like, a huge amount of people come back to the game. People are just burnt. Like foraging wasn't even bad in terms of content, like how long it took to max. I thought it was great. I thought it was the perfect amount of time. But people are so jaded with like the concept of Skyblock taking thousands of hours to do anything in. Like they just don't want to play anymore. Nobody wants to. And it's just because they've been pushing this. Okay, you have to sit here and do this nonsense content for 1K hours. Do this for another 1K hours. Like it was in 2021 when they released that document and they were like, "We don't want to extend the playtime of the game anymore." Like that the game was so much shorter back then in terms of how long it took to max things. Like and they said that in 2021 and since then we've gotten multiple 1,000+ hour to max out pieces of content. We've gotten another full area of mining. We've gotten the garden. We've gotten multiple new slayers and other things related to like Rift, and then we've gotten Hoppity. It's just become a mess at this point, where the content just keeps extending. We're going on like an average new player will not get the majority of the game done before 4 or 5K hours. I just don't believe that because the average new player is not like me or you, or especially not like you, where they're going to do things efficiently on the first run through. The average person playing this game is a 13-year-old kid who plays a couple hours on the weekends, a couple hours maybe during the week, and doesn't have time to do any of that. And I think that's the person who the game should be fundamentally built around and towards. Obviously, the 0.1% at the top, and listen, this includes me at this point, which is awful to even say. It shouldn't. I think I shouldn't even be in the top 10% of players. You need to build towards them as well, but only after you get people out of that mid game. You need to get people to the later parts of the game so that it makes actual financial sense to develop this new end game content.
I agree.
First of all,
I think
you could talk.
I think the baseline of all of this is that Skyblock XP ruined everything. Because
That's true.
a lot of the stuff that we're talking about is not required at all, but we see it as required for the XP. You don't need to go get Glaciite Powder Max to go do dungeons.
Yeah, of course. But I think that like I really think I agree with you completely there. That Skyblock Levels has had just a complete and total stranglehold on this game. Like it's completely destroyed, in my view, completely obliterated even the charm that the game used to have. Like I would make the argument that I think they should be totally removed. I think that they should totally get rid of Skyblock Levels. Like maybe keep it as an internal thing that's not next to your name or anything like that. Maybe, but even then, I think that it's still not a good system. The whole thing with Skyblock that made it really special in 2019, 2020 was that it was a fully complete MMO sandbox. Like you could do whatever you wanted and you didn't have to feel like jaded about XYZ. But I don't think that would also change my opinion about like drop rates. I still think many of the drop rates in this game need to be significantly buffed. Like people need to be able to get through the mid game, and we can't just keep saying that like 2 billion coin Hyperions are totally great, bro. They're incredible.
It's the best
Now,
weapon in the
it's a little
game.
lower. I of course, I don't disagree it's the best weapon in the game, but you can do something where the best weapon in the game is not specifically the actual end of the game. Maybe having your Hyperion with Chimera 5 on it, or putting Chimera on a bunch of your different pieces of gear, like that should be the actual end game. Hyperion, in my view, it comes from F7. It's not a hard drop to get in terms of the actual difficulty of the content. It's only being held back due to its drop rate, which I feel like is unnecessarily low.
I mean, Chimera is even easier than F7. I mean, you just kill an Inquisitors that just spam.
Well, I don't disagree, but the point is people view Chimera as much more of a later game thing that you're putting on just because of the sheer cost, but that's neither here nor there.
I think what they need to do is introduce a way to gap the weapons between like Spirit
100%.
Scepter and Hyperion instead of they shouldn't change Hyperion at all. Hyperion is fine where it is. We should have an elite weapon that's super expensive, super hard to get. But there should be a weapon that is slightly worse than it that probably costs 20 times less. Say it's 100 mil for like a slightly worse Hyperion. The Hyperion should be a marginal upgrade, not a deal breaker if you have it or not.
I don't know. I can't agree with that. And I think other like weapons fall into this trap as well. Like why is Giant Sword like still pretty close to a 1 in 500 drop this many years on? Like that's ridiculous in my view. Like there's a lot of things like that where the drop rates on certain pieces of gear or items that you can get just feel like absurdly low for the sake of dragging out your playtime to like a ridiculous amount of time. Even with RNG meter, which I don't think RNG meters are great. I would actually like want to greatly increase the drop rate of a lot of things and then get rid of RNG meter. Like if like what I'm arguing for basically is like if handles were 1% drop rates, like 1 in 100, which I truly believe they should be. Scrolls 1 in 33, you wouldn't need an RNG meter.
Further,
Like it would.
you would be making 5 Hyperions a day with those drop rates. Like that's just what's the point? Like that's like a
I
Juju
mean,
short bow at that point.
okay, and then Juju Shortbow would also be more common. Everything would be greatly more
What?
common because it's just because of the okay. So that is effectively like how things work in, for example, like Monumenta, which I've briefly talked about, but that's where I get that mindset from. And you're making fun of me, but in Monumenta, like the big thing is people do grind for thousands of hours. Like there's a lot to go for at that like upper echelon of gameplay and stuff like that. But like you can get an epic, a delve epic, which is like the rarest piece of content from a dungeon in about 4 or 5 runs of the dungeon. Obviously, it's a lot harder than F7, and the time investment per dungeon is a lot longer. I think it's like 5 or 6 hours for maybe less. It's like 2 or 3 really. But the concept there is basically if you reward people, you front load them the high end gear, and then everything past that point that you're just going super hard on grinding is either money or it's other rewards that are cosmetic or it's specific small little stat buffs. Like for example, they use a system called infusions, which are like little tiny 1% bonuses, kind of akin to gemstones, but not exactly. I think you're able to create a game that's much better in terms of how it streamlines its progression. Like the current system in Skyblock, it's a mess. It's a total mess, and it's very hard for a new player to understand it.
I think my opinion on the whole like progression of items is that I first fully agree with Vid that there's not as much a variance in like okay, you get a giant sword and then your next step is a claymore, right? I think
Yeah,
that's too far of a stretch. I do my opinion on drop rates, like I do agree that giant sword is way too high. I don't know the actual drop rate if it's 1 in 500, if it's higher, if it's lower, but it's in that range, right? I think that's like
yeah.
reasonable to say. I feel like what would make a lot more sense is that if they lowered Giant Sword, for example, to let's say a 1 in 200 or something. I think 1 in 200 is like kind of reasonable because you still need to run a lot of floor 6. And then you have something like Claymore, which I imagine with your like statement on hype, you would probably want Claymore to be lowered. But I
No, I
think that's
wouldn't. I
why
wouldn't because
wouldn't?
Clay. I don't want
What?
Claymore to be lowered because it's from M7. It's from a much harder piece of content. It's at the end of the progression, which I think is fine. It's at the
Okay.
full end of the progression. Hyperion you get from F7. There's a major difference there. Like I don't believe Claymore is actually in a bad spot. It's already I think it's about as it's not as rare as Hyperion from my understanding, like the parts of Hyperion. It's just not. Am I not mistaken about that? It's
I
like 1 in
think it's
800, 1 in
like
700.
I feel like you could get a full Hyperion in the time you get a Claymore.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that that's reasonable because M7 is the very like it's the end game piece of content currently. My argument is that F7 is not the end game anymore. It's not. It's just like
Yeah.
the base floor is not that hard to do. Even like you can get into it not too terribly. I don't think it should be rewarding an item, or I do think it should be rewarding like an item like hype. I think it's fine, but I don't think it should be nearly as rare. And that extends all the way down the list. Like I think that you should be rewarded based on the relative difficulty of the content, but also the actual like grind itself. Like whether that grind is, I don't know. My view on grinds and like how they should operate is really that like if a grind is particularly mechanically simple to do, it shouldn't actually take that long. So Garden, I think, is the most egregious example of that, right? We kind of went over that. Where Garden, you just hold down D. I don't think you should really have to do any grinds related to it at all that are active because it doesn't make sense to. You're forcing a player to sit there and just hold down keys on a keyboard. That's stupid. And on the opposite end of that spectrum, you have a couple of the Slayers. I would argue E-Man is a little more mechanically interesting than Blaze because Blaze is safe spotted and that's stupid, but
Well, they
whatever.
need to remove being able to say.
I agree. I agree they need to remove the safe spot. And then you also have things like dungeons, and I would actually not put Kudra on that list. I think Kudra is you just learn a list of instructions and then you exactly repeat it every time, and it's the
Kudra's
exact same.
horrible.
It's so ass. It needs another revamp, but that's neither here nor there.
The issue I have mainly with your take on this whole Hyperion thing is that sure, you could lower the drop rate to whatever it is, but do you not believe at all that the hype is too broken to be just a 200 runs and you get it from a floor
Well,
7? Do you not think that there
I
should
mean,
be more variance on maybe like maybe it's weaker and then you upgrade it in M7 or something like that to where you don't get this broken item super easily very early on
well,
and
listen,
then
if
there's
I
no
could
upgrade path.
if I could perfectly like redesign all of Skyblock, the combat would look totally different than what it is right
Oh
now.
yeah,
Like I would
100%.
completely redesign everything like from the ground up. But that's not like the position that we're afforded. Like they clearly are dragging their feet on redesigning the content because
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to be capable of it anytime soon. So I'm working with what we have currently. It's a very pragmatic view. Like yeah, I would love to be like I want to actually destroy Hyperion, nerf it into the ground, or at least make it like better but not ridiculously better than the majority of the other options in the game, and then keep it with like a 1 in 100, 1 in 200 drop. Like but that's just my view. Frankly, in like a perfect world other than maybe Claymore, I wouldn't want any drops really to be above 1 in 100 for like how long they take to get. I don't think that any drops reasonably should be, other than maybe some of the Slayer drops, just because the bosses are so much quicker to do. Like that's just my view of it.
I
But at this, my like whole issue with that is, first of all, I think obviously it's like an unfortunate situation, and this could be like the argument with what you want to happen. I genuinely don't believe ever could happen in this game for the one fact that I know it's like a horrible take, but it's been content in the game for what? We're going on 5 years of F7. Are
Mhm.
we now gonna do this change, or do
Yes.
we? Why? I feel like that.
Yes.
Do you not believe in any world that would have a like? Do you genuinely believe that if that change happened, there would be any change in the player count? Like, I don't
Yes.
think
Long
there's a
term,
single
I think
person that's like
if you
gotten to the
en
point.
masse changed a lot of things, it's not just that. It's a bunch of things. If you do a bunch of things, all the things that I've talked about all at once, I believe 6 to 12 months, yeah, you do see an improvement in the player count. That includes stuff like the Henish chapters pretty much on every single island. That includes stuff is like really getting rid of Skyblock XP as a major facet of the game in that regard. Really focusing on getting people back to the game through not really limited time events. I think that that's not really the way, but like small buffs, things like that. I really think you could see a huge improvement in the player count. Like very, very easily. It's just a matter of I agree with you. It's like you guys don't have to worry about that ever happening. I know you guys disagree, and it won't happen ever because it's just it would be too big of an undertaking. But I truly believe something like that would bring Skyblock back to a very significant amount of relevance. Because the big problem that people have with it at this point is they feel like it takes too long to max things out. It's just not enjoyable for them to do.
But do you not believe that that's not the right change to do? In the sense that this has been in the game, this is kind of like everyone knows the Hyperion as this like this is the weapon that everyone puts in their thumbnails and titles because
It's so
it's the
rare. Yeah, I
face
know.
of it's the iconic first sky texture of hype is just like you see that you're like holy shit that that's the best weapon in the game. Do you
Yeah.
not believe that in the past few years where this a weapon has existed and I mean like I don't like what was the player count like in 2022? Were we still like I
It
don't
was a
remember.
higher. It was around 35 to 40,000 consistently.
Is it? I feel like
It's
wait no that's Skyblock player count. Yeah, that's fair enough.
yeah.
But like hype was rare, like arguably as rare, or not arguably, the drop rate hasn't changed since then.
Yeah.
That's not why a lot of people quit the game because they're like, shit, man, the Hyperion is too rare. Like, I think it's a
Well,
very
it's not just that. I think that people have quit the game for a myriad of reasons. It's because they don't feel like their time is respected, and that's presented
no,
through things like
totally.
hype to a degree, but it's also through stuff like Garden. It's also through a bunch of other changes that they've done and made. Like yeah, they actually they've buffed Hyperion since then in terms of the drop rate. They've actually made it a little bit more common. But I of course I don't think specifically like yeah, you know, Hyperion's too rare. That's why people quit. No, but it's kind of death by a thousand cuts. People do not want to play the game that much. They don't have the time to. If they feel like the game is not going to respect their time, they are going to quit. I mean, it could be seen like even recently. Like look at another MMO, Destiny 2. In their most recent expansion, they greatly made it much harder to get max level. They made it way harder. They reduced the drop rates, they tuned everything down. Everything is just so much slower now. And it could be seen immediately even through the amount of cheaters on the game. Like for example, Destiny raid races, no matter how many people completed them, usually they would only see about 2 to 3% of the actual player base population cheating to get the raid done. It was a bad thing, of course, but it wasn't a very significant, part of the game. This raid race, because of the changes that they made, they've slowed down loot so much. Of the people who've completed the raid, and the raid wasn't even like, well, the raid was hard, of course, but it was difficult for different reasons because people felt like they couldn't grind the resources like properly. 40% of people who beat the raid cheated. Like that, it was actually, I think, more than that now. I think it's like 55% at this point. And I think that's directly related. The players felt frustrated. They felt fed up. They're like, listen, the developers, Bungie, they don't care about how much time we're investing on the game. They want us to be here forever. I don't give a shit anymore. I'm just going to cheat. And that's just what happened. I don't think that that's exactly analogous to Skyblock, but I do think it's important to note cheating has increased over the last few years. And I think a large part of that is because they don't want to take action on these issues.
But do you think that the cheating is related to how hard the game is? I don't think so at all.
It's
I
not.
think
It's
that
not
the-
about how difficult the game is, because I don't believe. I don't believe Skyblock is difficult. I want to
well,
make that
not
abundantly
difficult.
clear.
No, not difficult. I mean, in the sense that if you were to, let's say, make Garden, I think right now are like the real number is probably 400, 500 to max. Like, even if you made it 100 hours, even if you
I
made
don't
it
even think it
50,
should be
if
100.
you
I think
made
it should
it
be
30,
100. Yeah.
people would still macro it. That's not
Nope,
going to change.
I don't believe. I don't believe that at all. I
No.
just don't believe that. I fully do not believe that. I think if you cut Garden down to be 30 hours, and people could feel like it was an actually somewhat enjoyable 30-hour experience rather than a long, dragged out 500-hour experience, I don't think people would macro it nearly as much. And keep in mind, I think the only other reason people would macro it, and this is a fair point, and I don't think this would change, are the people who are macroing it not for progression's sake, but for money's sake. Like, obviously, that's a problem in and of itself, but that's more of a design problem with Garden because it's so simple.
I'm not sure that many people that are macro and Garden are doing it for progression, though. That's the thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
They're
I
all
think
doing
I
it
think a
for
lot of
money.
them are doing it for crop. I think the people
No.
who are macroing, a lot of them are doing it because they want to max out crop milestones.
There,
It's on
yeah,
the list.
sure. I'm not gonna argue that's not like what people are doing, but the people who are cheating probably have like gotten banned before. They're probably like
I don't
it's
disagree
very
with that, no.
common in the dungeon community that people will
Mhm.
start up alts and then the first thing they do is go to the garden, start macroing on multiple accounts.
Well,
So
yeah,
that
that's
if
because it's
one
such a
gets
good
wiped, all right,
money-making
this
method. Yeah.
exactly.
But the reason it's
It's
such a good money-making method is partially an NPC sell price issue, but it's also because, like, fundamentally, they made the most boring slop content imaginable that nobody in their right mind would want to do all day. Like, why would I ever sit there and do Garden when I could do literally anything else? And that, of course, is going to lead to some inflation of the price on regular profiles. Iron Man's situation's a little different, but you get the picture.
I mean
Like,
the way you want like I personally I'm still viewing this as like and maybe we just have like different definitions of like MMOs maybe or some shit, but like
yeah.
I'm looking at Garden and I'm like reasonably I think that Garden is like I think people are viewing Skyblock levels too harshly. I wanted to like say this before, but
Mhm.
I think Skyblock levels are fine if they were to like change a very small very few things about it. First of all, the fact that they give rewards, like they give HP and whatever, that's stupid. I think it was like early on when like cap was like I don't remember like when it originally came out, but like what
Mhm.
say 300.
Yeah.
When it was 300, it was like fine, but now that we're 200 levels higher for cap and the number is not going to ever go down, it's only going up. Now it's like damn, there's a actual concern for it. If they were to heavily reduce it maybe to where it's not required, I think that crop milestones and everything, I think like, would that sway your opinion at all? If they were to fully
I mean,
like,
if they were to fully I don't know, make Skyblock levels entirely, totally cosmetic, I don't know if that would fully change my opinion because it still affects like player perception and stuff like that. Like players still view it as a part of their progression, like whether you like it or not, even if it's just like it's
yeah,
because it's just a number next to your name. I think that if you fully cosmetic it, like made it and like also made it so where it doesn't appear in your chat or whatever unless you really want it to, maybe I could see your point. But that's just how players are always going to view it, like regardless. They're going to see it as their progression. Anything you put in there is going to be something that immediately a lot more players feel like they have to do because that's just how levels work in video games.
but like, it's a mental game of have to do. Do you actually have to do it? No. Is there any reward? No. It's
Mental is
just
100% of the battle. If you
yeah,
like, that's literally the entire point of like why we play games. Like, it's an entirely mental endeavor. Like, yeah, I don't disagree with you. Like, objectively, I shouldn't give a shit about my level if you did that. I objectively agree, but I do, and so does everybody else, and it affects people's mindsets about why they're playing these games in the first place. This all goes back to nowadays, especially post COVID. If a player feels like the game does not respect their time, they will not play. They will pay with their time, and that's not something the game needs further right now.
Oh, I was just about to say something. Fuck. What was I gonna say?
It's
Um,
just watching this time. He's he's
Yo,
just in
Vince,
the
say
trenches.
something. I need to
I'm
fucking. I need to
I'm just
recalibrate my
sitting back
thoughts.
here. I'll do some fill in, dude. I don't know what is up with me today. My social engine is at like an all-time low.
You're cooked, bro.
We started this call and it was like I got hit by like a wave of, I don't even know what it was. It was a new emotion I discovered.
New discovery of an emotion.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that people are going to grind out Skyblock levels regardless of if they give stats or not, because it is a status symbol. Putting XP
Yep.
on your milestones or your whatever random garbage like bestiary.
Yeah.
If there's
Or hoppity.
Hoppity, ugh. I
Hoppity.
honestly, I don't think Hoppity's too bad because it's sort of like you don't really
No,
do any
not at
gameplay.
all.
I just
Yeah,
collect them.
that's actually a good point.
But they just need to kill Skyblock levels, because if there were no Skyblock levels, I would never pick up another Hoppity egg in my life. Not once.
Yeah.
I have
I
no
would
reason
have to
to.
think about it. It
But-
wouldn't matter.
If they were to keep Skyblock levels but just get rid of the stats, I would still be going for XP.
Mhm. I agree with you
yes.
completely.
My status symbol.
Do you not think that's like part of a thing that they honestly need to do to keep the player count alive? Like,
I
the
don't think
fact
that would
that-
do anything tangible to the player count, because like
'Cause I
Viv
don't
just
do it
said,
either way.
we would still grind it. Like people would still do it if it had, even if it didn't have stats. People would just be pissed that you removed the stats. That's the only thing they would view it as is a nerf. Like I don't know how to say it any other way. And plus you'd still need to rebalance a lot of the game if you did that, which I don't think they would want to do again. But I do really believe if you truly like fully get rid of them, then maybe you could see some argument there, like, oh, maybe crop milestones don't actually matter. You don't have to do them, whatever. Like that's fine. But if you keep them in the game in any form, I think people are still going to be infuriated about it.
I don't know. I think this is just like I'm on a fixed mindset of this, where it's like, if people are genuinely playing this game for fun, if they're coming back from school and they're like, man, I want to have some fun playing Hypixel Skyblock, I feel like those people aren't in the mental of, man, I need to go farm crop milestones, I need to get my Skyblock level up. And especially in a world where if it's fully cosmetic, I think a lot of people's mindset would shift and be like, you know what, levels don't matter. Like, who cares if you're max level? Who cares
Okay,
if you're
but,
level
like,
250?
There is basically nobody who plays this game anymore and just says, I'm playing this game only to have fun. Like the vast majority of people who play Skyblock currently play because it's a status symbol among their friends who also are all addicted playing the game,
Well,
or
there's
because
nothing
they're
fun in the game. That's, I think, the thing that it boils down to is there's nothing like there's no
Exactly.
enjoyable thing.
I
other
don't
than Skyblock
disagree.
level.
That's why I'm saying like this is what you do. You truth nuke Skyblock levels, you get the grinds down massively, and then you can actually focus your development time on new hard end game content. Like that is the whole point of what I'm trying to make. Is like, yes, the game is not very fun in a lot of situations. I completely agree with you. How do you fix that problem? Well, you can't right now, other than further bloating the mid game. I don't think me or you or anyone just wants to see them spend the next 2 years dropping another 4 Slayers, which are pathetically easy for us to beat. Another 15 bosses that are pathetically easy for us to clear. Why not get people through the damn mid game, get most people up to around my level of I don't know, damage or skill or whatever, and then you could focus on, all right, let's give players something that actually challenges them. Like, I think that's just infinitely easier than just continuing to bloat the game with nonsense. Bloat the game with more playtime stuff, more stuff that's just pure Skyblock level. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't know. I feel like you just made that argument sort of for me there.
But Mike, my envision is just like, I don't think that it's like sure, you can make the like your kind of argument is that, oh, if they add like realistically, what are they gonna add into this game that's they can't, there's nothing that they're ever gonna add, because it wouldn't make any sense if they haven't really ever dropped something like it to where only endgame players can really do it.
M7.
That's not a
Well,
thing.
that's
M7.
not true. M7
M7
exists. M7 was that. Infernal Kujira was that for a while. Like
Slayer.
that's just not true. Blaze Slayer was that for a while. Like of course nowadays a lot of these things have been power crept, but like I don't know, those were all endgame pieces of content at their respective times.
Like you could do like a level 500, not level 500, fuck. That like when it first came out, a level 200 could easily do a tier 4 Slayer. Sure, it's slow, but they could still do it. And then it kind of gives that like man, I want to do this faster. I could go put in the time to make it faster, or I could do it slow. I want to have fun. I could just do it. I don't think
Well,
there
I
needs to
think
be
for
this
Slayer
like,
specifically, I'm of the opinion that they actually don't need to be significantly changed in terms of player count, or not player count, play time, like
Yeah,
investment, like how
Slayers are
long it
pretty
takes or
good.
nothing. I think they're actually pretty fair. Like jokes aside, like I don't think they're actually that bad because the actual content is at least slightly more interesting. Like I'm really like harping repeatedly on things like garden, on certain parts of mining, on like the initial parts of the game in that regard because they just particularly suck. They're particularly poor. Like that's just
but
how
like,
I
okay,
view it.
do you not think that instead of that, we just work on another world where, okay, let's make garden. Let's like you don't need to make it 50 hours, but let's make it, who knows, let's say instead of like we meet in the middle to where it's not a 500-hour grind, but it's not a 30-hour grind. Let's say it's 200 or 300, but make it genuinely enjoyable.
I mean,
Is that
if you
not something?
somehow, well, yeah, but at that point you're just talking about designing a Garden update that completely changes the gameplay of Garden. Like, yeah, of course, if Garden was all of a sudden interesting tomorrow, I wouldn't have a problem with crop milestones. The problem with crop milestones is not because it takes you 500 hours, it's because the gameplay is trash. But that's a harder thing to do. It's infinitely harder to design an interesting piece of content, especially around something like farming, and I don't think they even want to do that. Like that is they've not said at all that they want to do anything like that. Whereas they've said like, oh, we want to make another Slayer. Oh, we want to do new islands. We want to do XYZ. And I also just don't believe that you should just be going back and continuing to rework things over and over and over again. Sometimes it's okay to cut your losses on a piece of content and say, listen, we tried our best here. It's still slop. It still sucks. We're just going to make it way easier for you to max it out, and that's it. Everyone who has the old crop
That's
milestones max, congratulations, you get a cool emblem. You guys look awesome now. We're gonna work on the next item, like update.
mm,
Like that's just what you got to do sometimes. Like I did it all the time on Monumenta. Like there were more than a few cases where like I dropped an update and I'm like, wow, this is actually mid as hell. I made a mistake here, and instead of saying, oh, you know, we just have to keep reworking this over and over again until it's literally perfect, until the whole player base loves it. You rework it once, you give it your best shot. If players still don't like it after that point, you limit its effect on the whole, like on the total game, and then you move on and you do something else. Like that's just how developers work, how development works for games, and especially for MMOs.
not. Oh,
Hold
no, you
on.
could go.
I think the more that I hear Duralius speak, the more that I start to agree with him. You're a really good politician. Um, I think this game sucks. The like 90% of this game sucks.
Exactly.
For anecdotal evidence, but I am recording my game, right? For
Yeah.
this quote unquote podcast. For the first 20 minutes, I was foraging. And I got so bored of it in 20 minutes that I have been doing parkour since then. I've been in housing since then.
Yep.
I have no interest in playing any of the content. Now that I'm not able to like sit in my room all day and do nothing, I have no interest in grinding these things out. I honestly think that if they want to maintain players, they need to cut out all the boring garbage that nobody wants to do, because it is boring garbage, and get
Yes.
people to like. I honestly, you know what? I'm fully with you, Dralius. I think they need to cut it all out.
Yippee.
If you want to do boring stuff like that, Pat, honestly, I think you need to get on RuneScape, because their boring stuff is fun. Like Skyblock
Yeah.
is just the boring stuff on here is not fun at all. At all. It's so ridiculously mind-numbingly awful that I would
Yeah.
rather do anything else. I would rather be doom scrolling than open up Hypixel Skyblock.
Yeah. Like and I think the other thing here is like the reason why I'm so like I believe that they can do it is because you absolutely can do fun Minecraft content. Like I've seen it be done. Like it
We
can
have
be.
some of it.
Not necessarily all the time by Hypixel's team. They haven't been able to do it every single time. But I truly believe if you get people in, you get people to the point where they're actually enjoying the gameplay. I think then you can start thinking about, okay, now the grinds could be actually made interesting. Now maybe a 20, 30-hour grind here is fine. Another 20 hours here is great. Like that's what you have to do.
Well, okay, here's my kind of like, I am in no world saying that I currently agree with the current state of Skyblock, in where this is how they should
Sharing my
maintain it,
gameplay, by the way.
where they're constantly adding more and more grinds like this. I fully do not believe in that. I hate, like, I genuinely do not like the idea of where it's like, okay, we're just gonna keep adding, first foraging island, fuck it, we're gonna add part of the forest, and then for the second one, there's no way they aren't just gonna add more. Like they're gonna keep adding to that tree.
Yeah.
I don't think that's kind of like. I think that is horrible game design, and I will. We have a fucking hour and a half long video of me fully shit talking that update.
Yeah.
We do?
We do?
Yeah, the whole fucking.
Oh yeah, I forgot that was that long.
Yeah,
That was a long video.
I just shit talked that update fully, but my kind of envision on it is that nothing like the admins aren't gonna change this game from where it is.
Why not?
I don't
Okay.
believe that.
Why not?
I don't believe that.
Yeah, why not?
You know what? You know what? You were talking about me. I'll play OSRS if you guys hop on Monumenta for a little bit and actually try it out. Because I think after playing it, you'll genuinely understand what I'm talking about and see that like they can do actually interesting stuff.
A,
Like,
I'm
for
down.
sure.
B, I still have not convinced Pat to get on RuneScape, even though I know he'll love it.
I'll hop on it too, man. I'll hop on it too.
Oh yeah, it's
I
just
don't know. It's my like full like envision is that I think that some of the stuff in this game is fine. Like obviously it's like you don't like Garden. I fully agree that Garden is a good design in the sense that where we are, like they need to do a lot more with the game. I think that is just
Yeah,
like
I agree.
that's where I'm at, where it's like for what the game is, I think the game is fine. If they want to take a whole new direction in the game and be like, starting now, we're not gonna do any more boring content in that this is gonna happen. Like, I think that the more like we're talking, I kind of agree with your point in the sense that sure they could make these grinds less shittier,
Yeah.
but I think for the current Skyblock, I don't think that it should be changed that much in the sense of
I think
we're
that you
gonna
have to go all in on this or it's not gonna have any effect. Like if you say to players, yeah, all the future grinds won't be shitty. How many players is that affecting? 3,000? That's how many people
also-
have a higher level than me. Like you're
it's
not
also
affecting
a big
them any.
risk. I think that is kind of like a genuine issue where I think it's a big risk in the sense that they're not maintaining a player count. Like obviously it's like dipping, but I think they're maintaining a player count in the sense that if they drop something interesting enough, there is always the amount of players that will come back to it.
okay.
Mhm.
But
I
they-
don't think there are any like as of recent people
That's
genuinely
not true though. Like even foraging wasn't able to bring back nearly as many
because it was
players
shit. It was shit.
No, it wasn't.
That's-
I don't believe
yes,
that at all.
it was
I thought it
better
was
than
fine.
most of our recent updates.
It was
No.
better than the vast majority, and it didn't have any of the grinds, like not much of the grind at all, which I think was good. They did a great job on that. Like the reason why people aren't coming back is because they just don't care anymore. Like you've given up, players have just given up caring because they don't need to care because they just view the game as it's grind fest simulator. Like why would they play that when they can hop on anything else?
foraging update. That
No,
foraging
it's
update
not
is
because
Grind
it's
Fest
much
Simulator.
shorter. It's much shorter, like infinitely
it's-
shorter than something like Garden.
Yeah, but it's like it's okay, but it's like somebody quit the game over the fact that the game's too grindy, and then they're gonna drop foraging update, which is just reskinned mining, or like that's where it's kind of like the issue of.
Well, I mean, I don't fully disagree with you there, but I think that there's at least some like there's actual like good parts of the foraging update rather than there being literally no good parts of I don't know Garden. Like Garden's ass. No one wants to do that. So I'm about to get.
But like that's in the like, I don't know. Like I feel like your ideal Skyblock is that everything is optional. If you wanna fucking do farming, that's optional. Like whatever.
Well,
But
no, I don't believe that. I think a lot of the combat content should be completely and totally mandatory. I think even a lot of the other content should be mandatory. I think foraging should be generally. I think mining should be for sure. Like I just don't believe in slop. I believe that we can do better than that in Year of Our Lord 2025.
yeah, but I also think there's like we need to like. I guess the best way to put it is that a lot of these updates were released. I mean, this is what fuck. Maybe you're getting me. I don't know. I need to like think about this because like this was released in a time where this was the normal to drop a garden update like this. This was like kind of normal. I mean, maybe maybe garden was what was before garden. What was like the update before garden?
Update before Garden?
Was that
Crimson Isle
Kudra?
significant?
Yeah.
No, it was Rift maybe before that.
No,
Rift was post
No.
Garden.
I think
Rift was
I
first.
remember it was Kudra before. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think honestly, Garden was just a decline of the game, maybe. I
Well,
think
I don't disagree, but like you have to rectify that. Like you can't just leave it in a perma bad state forever. You have to rectify it somehow. Like one of the arguments that one of you said before was that you could just like, I don't know, you could make the gameplay actually fun. Yeah, you could do that, but that'd probably take a lot of work, a lot of effort. They don't want to do that. Just get rid of the grind. Just get rid of it. Cut your losses, give up, go to something else.
here's the thing though. Do you also not like here's the thing about Garden too is that maybe you're overlooking this. Garden is also like, let's say you implement the like thing that I've been talking about where it's like, okay, corrupt milestones just max at 30. There you go.
Yeah.
That is
Still too
currently
long. Still too long because it's slop. It's nothing. There's no
okay,
content.
but that's where the pest trap. You could genuinely AFK the whole update with pest traps in like a reasonable amount of time. I guarantee you, if you just
Then
like,
why have crop milestones at all if you're just gonna AFK it? Like I thought, like I don't know, if like I
because
like,
it gives the option
I'm
of
dead.
okay,
I'm
if
cooked.
you
I'm
genuinely
cooked. I'm cooked. Oh, good heavens.
If you-
I'm dead.
if
I don't
you
know if you just witnessed
genuinely
that.
enjoy the garden update, then it gives you the option to go ahead and forefront it and play it. But then it gives you like pest traps currently, like they should make it not a like, I don't know what would be the appropriate amount of time to like say that pest traps would be able to AFK your way through it, but I don't know if that's the right solution. I
don't even know what you're
what the
getting at.
solution would be. I don't know what the
The solution
issue is.
Pat,
I don't think that the solution you're offering is the best solution. I think that's
I think it's the only solution. I don't think any other
don't-
solution is even remotely feasible. You have to cut down on what's in the game currently in terms of the amount of time. That's the only thing they would even be interested in doing the code work for. Then you combine that with something stupid that gets people back into the game. Literally just like do a 2 weekends of plus 40%, plus 50% skill XP afterwards. I don't care. Say we care about your time investment. We care, bro. We're doing 2 weeks of that. Like I know you don't like limited time events, but you just got to do it.
okay,
You have to get people
that
back.
is something they need to. Okay, that's a completely different topic. Anyways, Pat.
Yeah.
Not imagine, Pat. You are little Timmy, right? You are 13 years old.
You are
I'm
Skyblock
looking
level
at-
17.
You were Skyblock level 70. You're coming home from school, long day of middle school, and you get on Hypixel Skyblock. Do you want to sit in your garden and farm pumpkins, or do you want to go play F7 and drop a handle? What do you want to do? Because if I can't play F7, I'm just not gonna go. I'm just gonna go do something else. Like, why would I want to do that if I'm the average player? If I'm not putting in, like, if this game isn't my job, why would I want to do that?
It's like sure, you could say that little Timmy would love to do 4-7, but do you genuinely believe there's not a single like people enjoy garden? There is people that genuinely
God.
And they're all unemployed.
No, I don't want you to
And
say
they're all
oh my
unemployed.
god. If they're unemployed, that doesn't matter. That's still what they choose their free time to do. There is
Yeah, but I'm not arguing. Like my argument is not completely remove the garden in all forms. It's completely remove the XP component of garden. Like I don't care if garden remains in the game afterwards. Like I don't care. That doesn't bother me. But objectively, it's not content. It's just not interesting. There's no enjoyment out of that. Yeah, I bet there are people who are going to sit there and have a great time spending 16 hours a day holding down the button D on their keyboard, or maybe they're just macroing. I don't know.
Okay.
Like we can't balance the game off of 200 people who want to do that when there's thousands, millions of people who have logged on this game and given it up because it's slop. It's slop. It's nothing burger. It's nothing going on.
I think the best way to genuinely put it is that they just need to make Ola. I don't know, cause I fucking
Say it.
because I don't like your idea of okay, let's make every grind cosmetic. But
No,
then
it's not every grind cosmetic. It's lower the time by
Okay,
a
yeah, no,
factor of like
no, no,
pretty
no.
much by a factor of 10.
let me get my thought fully out. I hate your idea of the fact that it's like what was the full thing you said on Twitter? Like I read something that you wanted a lot of stuff to be cosmetic rewarded or some shit.
Yeah, yeah,
that.
like some of the end game, some of the stuff that would be considered like the end game grinds could be cosmetic rewarded. Yes.
Okay. Maybe because here's the thing. I think that the best solution after everything so far is you just fully make Skyblock levels cosmetic. Because I don't think that there is a
I think you
better
gotta
like.
completely remove it. Other than like, I mean, other than making cosmetic, I
Here's
mean,
the
like
thing.
not even have it on your thing at that point, like your tablets.
Even there are a lot of people who genuinely enjoy the idea of playing this game and playing every part of it. I don't think that's
There's a couple
Like,
thousand at most who believe that nowadays, man. I'm gonna
yeah,
keep it
I
real
don't
with you.
know. I feel like you're underestimating the amount of people. I'm not. I think that's.
Then why aren't
I
they playing? Then why are they like leaving en masse? Like I don't know what
Well,
to tell
that's
you,
the
man.
people playing right now. The people currently on the server playing right now is mostly that audience of people that are playing for like. I feel like the amount of people playing right now would be fine with playing for like if Skyblock levels were cosmetic. I think if they did make it cosmetic, I think then maybe you would have arguably people come back to the game
Mhm.
in the sense that like, oh wow, maybe I don't need it. Like, I don't. It's a lot of. I wish I had data on this to be like this. 10,000 people. There would be 10,000 people that would come back actively playing the server again if Skyblock levels were what's it called? Like, gave nothing.
Yeah.
I think that would be helpful. I think a survey, like if they were to do a, that would be definitely a good step if they just did a survey where they're
Mhm.
like on the forums or some way of surveying the players of what they genuinely want.
Yeah.
I,
Well, listen, I've done a bunch of miniature surveys. Obviously, you're
yeah,
gonna say that like it's not accurate, but like
yeah,
whatever. Like pretty much all of the surveys I've done, like 70%, for example, from that survey from last night. So the reason they quit the game is because the lines grinds are too long or they're not fun. Like at that point, you're working with maybe 30% of the people at most who would be interested in the grinds not being shorter, but just being cosmetic. Like you're maybe getting 30% of those people back. Like I can't see a world in which you actively like fix the player count problems without really reducing, like significantly reducing the amount of time the average player can spend on any XYZ piece of content. Like you really have to cut down on it by frankly close to a factor of 10. Like I truly honestly believe that. I don't think any individual grinds in this game should take longer than I don't know, 20 hours, maybe 30. Like
I
that's a
don't think
significant amount of
so.
time. That's just a
Yeah,
significant
it's a
amount of time.
significant, it's a lot of time, but at the same time, it's like I mean, maybe the argument is that it's Minecraft, so it's a lot of younger player base, but also it's
It's
not
not
because I
even
feel
really
like
that. It's not even really that. It
exactly.
has nothing to
So
do. It has nothing to do with the youngness of the player base. It has to do with the people in the player base, the average person in the player base, who they are, who you're trying to go after, how you're going to target the game in 5 years' time. Like, do you want the game to even exist in 5 years' time? And I think if you don't, if you do nothing, if you willingly choose to do nothing at this point, you just leave the game exactly how it is. You say, oh, those people who want to grind, they can grind. We'll get people some other way. 5 years, you don't have a game. And that means in 5 years, even you or me or anybody who actually enjoys some of the harder parts of this game, they'll have to log off and do something else because there won't be anything left. There won't be a player base left. Like you have to cater to the majority in a lot of these situations, or your game dies. Like that's just how MMOs work. RuneScape is able to get around that because RuneScape is the place people go for that type of content, for that ridiculous level of grind, for that super hardcore enjoyment. They're not coming to Hypixel Skyblock for that. There's no way to get people to come to Hypixel Skyblock for that. We don't have the pull. So the alternative, it's you have to reduce the grinds. You have to do what makes the player base happiest.
I think another important thing to mention about RuneScape and the reason it's able to get away with it is because nothing is required. There's no RuneScape level. There's one completionist like optional thing they have is not visible to anyone. It's not even on the API. So it's like if you don't want to go and do this boss or you don't want to go get this item, nobody is making you. Like it's completely up to you. In Skyblock, it's like, oh well, what do you level 300? You're not playing M7 with me. It's like you're required.
Yeah.
here, you're sorry. I'm not gonna lie to you. You're convincing me a bit,
Mhm.
but I think the best way, because here's where I want to make my claim.
Mhm.
I guarantee you, let's say I think a reasonable amount of time. Let's say I restarted like a player of that would fully know the game. You could fully finish a profile in 4 or 5 thousand hours.
Well, I don't want to do that. That's an
Why
entirely
not?
You
that
gotta no, you gotta listen. Let me finish my thought because you don't know the context of it. Out of that 4 to 5 thousand hours, a lot of that is like, and this is where I fully I hate your idea of let's shorten the length of a hype grind because if you cut out a lot of like garden, and then you cut out mining, and then you cut out what else is there, like shit like that, right? If you cut that out, the total time to complete the game, I guess, like where you have a hype, like where you're, because like where do you, I don't know, because it's very, I don't know. I don't know
You take
where to.
everything, you drop it by a factor of 6. I truly believe that means pretty much everything. There are certain things which I think should be generally immune from that.
I think
Some things in
our
dungeons,
issue
slayers
is,
generally, but that's about
yeah,
it.
I think our issue is where we draw the line of cutting out content.
I think it's pretty much everything. I think it's practically everything.
I would,
As I
yeah.
have grown out of my
Unemployment phase.
unemployment phase.
Okay,
as
here's
I've,
the thing.
Let me talk. Let me talk.
Yeah. Okay.
Let the goat speak.
Let me speak. Let me speak.
Go for it.
As I have gotten more in touch with reality and not spent 16 hours a day on Hypixel Skyblock, the more I have realized what the average person is going through whenever they think about playing Skyblock. Because I am that person now. I think I would rather just not open the game than deal with the stuff I have to do. It's like, yes, I love the idea of playing dungeons or going and doing, like the hard content, but I have no incentive. I have no incentive to go and do Enderman Slayer because I have it maxed, but I do have incentive to go and do Thist Bestiary. I would never do Thist Bestiary if there wasn't Skyblock XP attached to it. I don't care, but it gives me 1 Skyblock XP, so I'm going to go and do it. The average person does not want to do these things, and the average person is the one that we need to cater to if we want the game to survive long term. We get paid for this game surviving. If this game dies, we lose our source of income.
Yep.
Here's the thing where I think if you were to rank me in like, up here is fucking peak unemployment, and then at the bottom is like you get an hour a day to play Skyblock, I'm like top 70% of that. Like I have the time to dedicate. Like I have nothing going on. I'm fucking unemployed.
Dude, I'm unemployed too right now, bro. I quit my job for this fucking game.
What?
Like, this is my
no
point.
way, no way.
Duralius is unemployed. I quit my job for this game because it makes so much money. But like anyway, like I objectively, like I'm the person.
Yeah.
I should be, if anything, if you want to cater to the 0.1% streamers, I should be saying, fuck those mid game players, bro. I think the grind should take longer. That means I get to make more guide videos. I don't want to make guide videos, bro.
Well, that's
I
not
want people
true.
playing the game. I want more people to hop on. I want more people to have fun. How you do that? You make it easier for them. Most normal people who have a job or go to school every day or whatever, like they're doing stuff, they don't want to sit for 12 hours hitting D on their keyboard to farm wheat, bro. No one's
disagreeing you with that.
But you are. You're saying you want to keep milestones generally the same. You like.
Yeah,
this is the
I
problem.
said that with the cosmetic like part of it, where it's you could do it, and even you said that they should have cosmetic grinds.
Yes.
This is what I'm arguing to be a cosmetic grind.
No, but you still said earlier, like, oh, we should keep it around. It should be like, crop milestone should go up to 30 with XP.
Well, yeah, but then
eventually you changed your view on an XP. I think that you just totally frankly, I think the problem itself isn't that the XP itself is bad. I think the XP shows where the problem areas of the game are. I think it really shows that there's too much damn grind in the game, and how you resolve that is you get rid of the vast majority of that grind for most players. It should not take people that long to get to around level 450. I just don't believe it. I just don't believe it should. And I think if you get the majority of the people, you bring up that average Skyblock level by doing what I'm talking about. You take that average Skyblock level, I imagine right now, I think it's like 50. It's like 60 or 70 maybe for like the average player.
The average, what about like the median though? I feel like the average is not a good statistic.
Yeah.
Okay, so the median player, I imagine it can't be above level 150, 160. I imagine that cannot be higher than that point. Like the median player who just logs on every once in a while, like that's just who they are. It's like maybe 150. I think you have to get that median to 350, 400 even. How you do that? You reduce the amount of grind. You make the players feel respected. You get people to the mid and late game. There should be every single Crimson Island should be full of people doing Blaze Slayer. Should be full of people trying E-Man. Should be full of people doing the actual interesting things this game has to offer. Dungeon Hub should be full of people actually capable of doing the content. Another thing I talk about briefly, but I haven't brought up yet. Like, for example, Catacombs, the way the Catacombs scaling works, it sucks ass. It's so stupid. Like, I don't comprehend. And the way that gear scales. It should be... So right now, how it works is like the gear scales. Like if you dungeonize an item, it goes to 10% at level 0, and after that point, it scales all the way up to like 500%. That's really
Yeah.
stupid because it creates a situation where a player who's otherwise good has good gear. They're cat at 36, tough shit, buddy. Get back to M5. Have fun doing nothing burger content for the next 600 hours. Like you're
Yeah.
not even capable of trying it. Should be changed to the base scaling goes up to plus 50%. Every level is an extra plus 1% added onto it. Rebalance everything accordingly. Boom. Now if you're cat at 36, well, you're not missing out on that much damage. If you have good gear, you can actually do it. I think that's more reasonable than making people sit through slop M5. Like same idea there, same general concept.
I'm
I
not disagreeing with that at all.
as time has gone on, I think I have an overall point to make. As time has gone on, or in the past, I have wanted Skyblock to be RuneScape because I play RuneScape, and I think, you know, there's no other games like this, and we have one that has it's trying to be RuneScape, but it's not quite getting there, and that's like I was itching for that. And the reason that there are no other games like RuneScape is because it is such a hard recipe to replicate. No one has ever done it. Every other popular MMO is more like, wow, it's a theme park. You come back and you play it for a little bit, and then there's an update. People come back, spend money on it. Maybe they take a break. There's a hardcore dedicated player base that might reset their profiles and do whatever over and over. But for the most part, it's about getting people in and having them have fun during that time.
Yep. Exactly.
I think that is what we need to work towards. And honestly, I feel very motivated after like Pat made that tweet to Simon and he actually got the creator code system changed. I think that our voices have bigger pull than we might actually think. So
I agree with that based on like the mini Clune interview as well. Is like they look at stuff like Skyblock news comments for update information, and like they see like what players are thinking about the updates. Like I don't disagree with you. This needs to, like, I'm gonna be shouting this from the fucking rooftops. Pat, you can disagree all you want. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry if I turn this game into slop you hate.
Here's the thing. I think that if I'm gonna be fully honest with you, and I'm speaking from another side of myself, there's definitely that part of me that's talking out of and I guarantee I'm not the only one. You talk to any like.
I'm not upset with like endgame players or like super endgame players who feel like threatened by this, but I'm not arguing this because I want endgame players to suffer.
I get that. But it's a fucking punch in the face. And you talk about like admins disrespecting time. This update would genuinely
it would be the most disrespectful thing.
I agree. I do not disagree. I do not disagree in the slightest. I do not disagree.
That's just something we have to deal with.
It needs to be done.
Yeah.
It needs to be done, and it needs to be done in a way. It has to be done as radically as possible. Like I would rather the grinds be made too short and have to be buffed back up later than made still too long, and we're still back here looping around at this shit. Like I'm being so serious when I say that.
No, I see your point. Yeah.
If you really do like get this down to like. Players can get from like 0 to 400, and I don't know. I don't want to say something ridiculously low, but like 400 hours, 500 hours, whatever. They can actually do that. They can actually experience the full game. They get a ton of crazy drops. They're having a great time that whole way. Then that's when you can really look at, okay, let's make some new endgame content. And that's something that will actually engage an endgame player far more than any bloat slop that they're adding right now because they need to keep people on for 1,500 hours to do XYZ.
And another thing is that a lot of our like quote unquote, like I've said quote unquote so many times today, but a lot of our difficult content isn't actually like mechanically difficult.
It's not hard.
Just
it's not hard.
difficult. Like you just need to play the game for so long to have the stats to do it. They need to add in things that are actually difficult. Like M7 is probably one of the only examples of that, of things that have.
I would argue even M7 is mechanically pathetic baby mode compared to anything I've seen on Monumenta, bro.
Well, like, I'm talking like the upper people that are.
Yeah, it is the upper limit for sure.
But, anyways,
Duralius convinces more people yet again. The fucking the alliance to fix Skyblock grows.
Here's like where like it's fucking. The issue with, like, it's hard to disagree. It's genuinely hard to disagree with your statement here, because it's, like, the biggest thing is, you're like, okay, Duralius wants admins to make a game easier because currently the game disrespects players' times, or players' time, which is kind of counterintuitive, because, like, you're currently, if you implement that update, you have wasted...
I know.
Hundreds
of millions of hours of time.
Millions of hours, yeah.
I don't disagree. But I'm looking at it from an opportunity cost point of view.
Yeah. No, I
Like,
fully agree. I fully agree that
like in 1 year, if you implemented this update tomorrow, the amount of hours wasted for players, whether this update's in or not, like if the update is not implemented, more hours will be wasted. Like I do not want that. I want the game to have to have a turnaround view in the public. I want this update to be so goddamn radical and how it completely changes the way people view this game. I want people who haven't played in years to come back. I want Tommy in it to come back, bro. Like this is the type of shit that I'm talking about. I'm being so serious when I say this.
no, I think that like this could be like the 1.0. I
Yeah.
think 1.0 would be like, all right, you guys had fun. Like, obviously, this
Give
is
everyone
like,
before, like the more grinds that you've
listen,
done, give them crazy cosmetic rewards. I don't care.
like it's like a shit. I understand. It's technically still a beta, so people
Yeah.
can get mad. But like, yeah, it's still like maybe they're just like it's fuck, dude. Like genuinely, like I have two voices in my head because I'm
Yeah.
about to snap to the point where it's like, but now it's
I've
6
caused
years
a split
later.
personality disorder in Candypat.
But now it's 6 years later, and now we're gonna be like, man, now I feel like we should go ahead and
Better late than
work.
never, bro. Better late than never. And now
Yeah,
I think it's
and
especially a good time with things like 1. Or not 1.0, 1.21. Like
yeah,
with the new content, you're able to do more.
I think that it should be something that's definitely fucking heavily discussed at
Yeah.
Hypixel to where it's like
I agree.
Here's the route. Here's the route. They bring back Dante for 1.0. 1.0. Dante gets elected. He makes the most radical changes. He makes everything 1 in 50. All the stuff we're talking about. He makes the game like completely different. And then they go, oh, sorry guys, it was Dante. You elected him. Boom,
Yeah.
we're good to go.
Boom. Truth Nuke, you voted for him. Sorry guys, you did it.
It would be
Inverse Dante.
if like the fucking issue. I'm not gonna lie, is the economy. I
Oh
think that
no,
the
I don't care.
economy,
I don't care about the economy.
I know
This will cause
yeah,
either the most
100%.
inflation or most deflation you've ever seen in your entire
No.
life. I don't care.
It would cause insane. I get deflation, right? Because
a ton of people would be showing up. Demand would be through the roof. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's the
I don't
thing.
know.
Like you don't know what's gonna happen. Like I don't doubt that probably like things like handles and stuff would drop significantly, but commodities might rise because so many more players are able to get access to and use a bunch of other things. Like I don't know.
It's so
Like
interesting.
Necron handles probably would drop for sure. Scrolls would probably be in the
Oh,
gutter,
yeah.
sure. But like other items that people use pretty often to make things, like craft things, they might rise very significantly. That might become a big part of it. Like I don't know.
think it sucks because the way that they should redesign the game will take ages. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
that there needs to be a so much needs to change in this game if we want, like, it's not as simple as just being like, okay, let's look at every part of the game and let's change drop rates. No, because I think that there should be like genuine reconsideration in half the game to be like, I think I don't know if it's fresh in my mind because of something else or it was in the previous podcast, but like the hexes, right? Like not the hexes, the enchantments, the whatever, that needs to be fully fucking revamped.
Yeah,
I remember
they need to put most of those into attributes, in my opinion. Though.
I remember when I first played Skyblock, like the first week or whatever, when everything was fresh, I'm like, dude, what the fuck is vampirism? What are all these enchants? Why do I need 16 of them on my sword? And now it's like I have a sword with 30 enchants, I have gemstones, there are 50 different colors and different stats on my Hyperion. I'm lost. True. That's something they also need to look into, like to be like, damn, we also need to change that. And then it's like you need to change every part of this game to make it interesting.
Yeah,
I mean, what needs to be done.
That's like the long-term goal. But like, if I could have like complete access to the game for 24 hours, like I think that if you start doing something like this, like the game has to be unrecognizable week over week. They just have to start breaking shit until literally the entire game is entirely different. Like that's just what you have to do. You have to go in fully. You have to start changing drop rates like crazy, changing requirements like crazy. Just start editing stuff and break the game over and over again. Make it a huge, like, I don't know, make it a community event. Like we're gonna be really greatly changing the game. And in the next 3 weeks, you're gonna see numbers change like never before. To get you interested in playing while we're breaking stuff, here's what we're doing. We're giving you plus 50% skill XP. We're giving you magic find. We're giving you tons of stuff. I don't care. I don't care anymore about the rarity of certain things. None of that is none of that's sentimental to me. I don't care because none of the content is actually difficult enough, in my opinion, to actually matter.
I do think it would be really it would be really cool to have a world where everyone is in a state that, because like the foraging update comes out, sure, a lot of people are playing it, but there are a lot of people still at other parts of the game, whatever. It
Yeah.
would be so much cooler if 90% of the player base was focused on foraging when it first came out, and
Exactly,
like,
exactly. This is my point. This is like this is the thing. Like it actually genuinely is alarming in my opinion. If you release an update that has been supposedly worked on for like 5 years, it's supposed to be one of the most interesting things that they've ever done, and still there's like hundreds of people on the garden. Like that should be that should be a very
yeah,
alarming situation. Like to put into reference, like when Monumenta dropped Indigo, which is the latest dungeon in the game, 90% of the community who was able to be at Indigo was doing Indigo. Like that was it. Like everyone was racing. Like and it creates this like really awesome raid race environment where everyone's talking about the new content. Everyone's excited for it. Like even now, if you look at my screen, you'll see of the 140 players, like because their grinds aren't that long, it takes you about 50, 60 hours to get through all the content. Most people are on Ring, which is like the latest piece of content, the latest location. Like people are able to be caught up in this game. And because of that, it creates a community. Like pretty much everyone is late game or pretty much everyone's end game. Obviously, there's a few people who do the raid. Like, hold on, I have to like show in the game to actually like, I don't know, make it clear. But like, there's one raid in this game. It's called Hexfall, and there are only a few people who consistently do it. You know, I've done it a few times. Whatever. There's actually 2 raids, but whatever. Like people come here and they do this like super endgame content and they pick up like these insane artifact pieces of gear, like raid loot, like actual interesting raid loot. And it's so much more fun for players to chase just these few items that have very high drop rates. You're guaranteed some of these every single time you play the raid. Like you just get them 100%. I think the rarest thing in the game is like it's a cosmetic like item that drops from this. It's like 125 or one in maybe not even 125, maybe like 1 in 5, but people still sell it for a lot. The way this game does like progression that's like super long term, which I think is something that could be done in Skyblock, and I think would be really interesting, is like it has basically charms which you're able to randomly get, and they just randomly buff your character. So this is for example for a dungeon, right? And if I go over and I do, I think VZC, like I have a bunch of buffs and I can get these in this dungeon, and they have certain levels of power. I have a certain like slot limit, and the numbers on them are totally random. Like if I get a common, the numbers are going to be less good than if it's an epic, than if it's a legendary. And some people sell this stuff. For reference, I have about 420 of the game's like currency. That's quite a bit, but not a ridiculous amount. Some people sell individual charms for like 5, 10,000 of that currency. That would take hundreds of hours for a person to grind out. And it's because they feel like their time is going to. That's what the end game grind really is. It's a game where pretty much everyone's close to end game, but the things that separate like a super end game player from someone who isn't is relatively small and has a little bit of minutia there. Like I don't know, and the same thing here with like the infusions and how this operates. Like there's small little tiny buffs, but people spend a lot of like you need to get a lot of resources in order to do this. Like and there's tons of these in the game. Like they've just been able to create like a ridiculous system where players like actually feel like their time investment is worth it, and you're able to apply buffs or whatever. Like I don't know, that just like is a point that I'm talking about with this game specifically. Obviously, something analogous to this couldn't exactly exist in Skyblock, but you get the picture of how they're able to create a system like this, and like how they have 150 people isn't a crazy amount for a Minecraft server, of course. But I know most of these people. Like I've seen them on this game for 5, 6 years in a row now. Like they've played even longer than that. Like they have a super dedicated core player base. I think Skyblock can do that. I think it's entirely possible.
I will say, like completely off topic. Actually, I'll say something on topic first. I think it would be really cool if they experimented like a lot, not a lot, but like obviously, I think a big step and like I'm kind of what you're kind of talking about here. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is like
Yeah.
a dungeon, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, a new type of dungeon. I wonder what they like. Like you like the idea of like more common drop rate. I
Yeah.
wonder what they could experiment with let's say a longer dungeon, but that lower drop rate.
I
Would
mean,
that be
the way I think you do it is not a
like keep
longer
it
dungeon with a
fun?
lower drop rate. You do a long dungeon with a guaranteed drop of an item, but that item can be different every single time theoretically, and you're really hunting for like a god roll equivalent. That's what most
Yeah,
games do.
I think
That's
that would be
how
cool.
that's how most games handle these sorts of things. Like for example, what I was talking about before with the Zenith with the charms, right? Like if you are guaranteed to get a few of these charms, and you can fuse them together to get the highest rarities of them if you do enough of the dungeon. And like for example, there's like ascensions with this, which is basically hold on, I gotta show you. I gotta show you something. You guys would flip out if you saw this. You're gonna see this and immediately think this needs to be in dungeons like right now.
Vin, are you showing this, by the way, out of
Yeah,
curiosity?
I'll show
Yeah,
this. 1 second,
okay.
I'll do it.
So this is something.
Wait
specifically that you should-
up, wait up.
All right, I'm waiting. So, like for example, when you're able to start a dungeon in this game, you're able to create a delve, and you can create a custom delve. And you see, you have a ton of different modifiers that you're able to turn on and off. So, like for example, I want twisted mobs, which are basically like super hard, occasional spawn mobs, and that gives you points. And as you can see, that gives you damage multipliers in the dungeon. Like that damage, the mobs damage you more. It also like buffs the amount of loot you get in the dungeon. So chivalrous enemies become mounted on slimes, bees, and spiders. I can turn that up to 5. That's another 4 points. And I can just keep like cranking up points here. And you can see the damage caps become way higher. If you could do something like this in dungeons, where like the mobs, for example, they had different effects on them or different activities.
Oh,
like if
yeah.
you killed them, they could spawn stuff more often. Like imagine a version of this, like for the prime Skeletors or whatever, where instead of one of them spawning, it would be like 4 of them or 5 of them, and they were super tough. And you actually had to like fight them and think about the actual aspects of fighting them. But if you did that, maybe you have a boosted handle chance. Maybe you have, I don't know, a chance to get 2 recoms instead of 1. Like, you're able to do that in this game. There's rotating modifiers and things like that, where there's just, like, huge different buffs and like, changes you can do. And you can do this with any dungeon in this game. Like, this is how the end game operates. Like, when you do these dungeons on these higher difficulties, you get these, like, materials. For example, this is one from, like, the latest DLC or latest, I don't want to say DLC because it's not downloadable. It's just the latest dungeon. Like, these only drop if you're doing it on that delve difficulty. And that gets you the epic, like, items, which are basically, like, as you can see, like, this is an epic. It allows you to access your ender chest whenever you want. Which in this game is super relevant and like important. This is an epic. It allows you to store multiple. This is something I talked about, by the way. This is sick that this game has it. You can just click on and like you can just swap everything about your character, like including your hotbar, including your like everything, and it's just stored in shulkers. That's all. I just wanted to bring that up because I know Skyblock doesn't have equipment swapping and. It's just peak. You're just able to equipment swap whenever you want. I think you can actually, yeah, you can hit F and hotbar swap like everything instantly. You just do that whenever you want. But like anyway, that was just like one specific thing I wanted to bring up. But like the whole point of like how this game is structured is that like each individual epic that you grind for is maybe a 10, 15 hour grind. Like they're not that long.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of them in the game, a lot of things for people to go for. So it could take you a total of like 200, 300 hours to be maxed, I guess, or to have the majority of the stuff. But even then, like the grinds get so much crazier because of how much they've developed. Like they have a system where players, for example, like I'm maxed on Rogue. This is one of the 7 classes, but my scout stuff isn't like fully maxed. Like it doesn't have literally everything on it, or 8 classes. I think we're at. Like that's just how they're able to develop it. Obviously, not a lot of this is completely transferable, but I think there's lessons to be pulled from something like this when compared to. I think RuneScape's great, but I don't think every single lesson can be directly pulled because it's Minecraft and not RuneScape. I think there's more you could pull from stuff like Windcraft or stuff like this because this is already in the same like engine, I guess.
Yep.
If I'm gonna, I do agree. I think that having more consistent drop rates would be cool, and then it's like, I guess like the best way to go around it is like you have this one weapon where I mean, you pretty much just said it, where it's like,
Yeah.
oh, you could grind for this weapon, but then it's 115 for it to be the super rare weapon, whatever.
Yeah.
I agree with that idea.
Mhm.
I just agree with pretty much all what you said there.
Yeah.
One completely off-topic thing, though, I'm not gonna lie to you, is that there's some type of charm with Skyblock to where it's so vanilla, and then
Yeah.
what you're showing, bro,
Yeah, it
is
does
so
look like cancer.
Yeah.
it's so incredible how it's not even incredible. I just think that like obviously there is a market for the server that you're playing on. Like
Yeah,
I'm
of
not
course,
saying
of course.
that it's dog shit. I hate it because it's just not for me. I
Yeah.
think that's the best way to put it. But
Mhm.
I think that Skyblock has such a charm with how vanilla it is, and the fact
Yeah,
that
I don't
I'm
disagree. Ironically enough, like this game used to be incredibly vanilla until relatively recently,
Yeah.
like last couple of years. Like things have obviously changed, and I don't think you can implement. That's why I was very much making the point. Like you can't analogously like just drag and drop delves, for example, from this game into Skyblock. That doesn't
No.
work. But I think you could do things kind of similar. I think you could do different effects on the mobs, like for example, if you had a version of a dungeon, for example, in Skyblock, where all the mobs, like you can affect their sizes in game with vanilla commands now. You can make all the mobs just larger. What if there was a version of all the mobs that are just like they're 1.25x in size and they deal 1.25x damage? You turn that on and then boom, now you get more loot. Like I don't know, that's something they could do. Like easy versions of stuff like this where it's not as obviously, complex. I think there's a bunch of other stuff that can theoretically be done, like playing around with health bars and playing around with damage and how that affects you.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I
I mean that's just the view of that at that point.
We need.
I mean, I have nothing to argue with. I'm not gonna lie.
I think we're getting to the end of this. I think we just need to advocate like very, very loudly for radical change.
Yeah, I agree. Completely agree with you.
Like they need to,
I-
I mean, obviously it's not going to be fast, but
No.
if the game wants to survive, they need like the 1.0 release needs to be the biggest event we've ever had in this
Ever.
game.
Yes, correct.
Like it needs to be bigger
It-
than Dante. Like it needs to be
Yeah.
they hype it up for months. They like get creators on the payroll to hype it up. Like
Yeah.
make it an event and make the game just so much different. And that's the only way that it's going to survive because if it keeps trending in the way that it has been, we're not going to be here in 3 years.
Yeah, of course
No.
not. I want to be here in 3 years. Listen, I would love nothing more than to be unemployed and do nothing all day and get to play Skyblock and actually have a good time. But it needs to change. Things need to change. And I think the important thing about what I'm arguing is I do not think any of this is hard for them to do. I do not think it's hard for them to take a machete out and start slashing out drop rates and making them way better
It is
and reducing
scary.
the amount of grind. It's scary. It's scarier than any new update ever will be because you would have to be terrified of potentially alienating your current base. And frankly, we talk about communication for the admins all the time. What needs to happen is they just need to do this and then put earplugs in.
Yep.
They need to do this and just
Yeah.
put in earplugs and say, we are not taking any feedback, tough shit, deal with it, and just drop it. I'm being so serious. They can have
I
a
mean-
million downvotes, but I think in the long run, it'll end up being better.
I think what's like we can relate to the fucking mini clune thing that you did.
Mhm.
It's definitely like I think the community I do think the community has very valid points. I think personally a lot of the shit that I like argue about with the recent updates, whatever, I think a lot of the stuff is kind of valid on my part.
Mhm.
But some stuff that I say and a lot of other people say is definitely just like in spite and like
Yeah.
very in the moment, like, man, the game sucks, the admin should change this instantly. But then as time goes on, it's like, hey, maybe it's not that bad. And I think like perfect example, the mining update, I think there's still one big flaw, and that's how fucking diamonds are the best mining method and not gemstones. But I think like a lot of stuff in that update was genuinely good. Like that was a really good change.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot of people speaking out of spite, and I think an update like this is like, I mean, perfect example, me. I'm like, shit, man, I fully disagreed with you, but now it's like, I think that an update like this, if you just let it sit in and you're like, it is tough shit, and
Yeah.
you just like, yeah, I think that's it. It's just tough shit.
You got to deal with it. Sometimes things change, and you have to deal with it, and it just has to happen. I think, and the reason why I feel so strongly about this is like I went through the same thing on this server, like when I developed for it. I kind of briefly went over it one time before, I think on stream, but I don't know if I went over here. Like the old way the death system in this game worked sucked, and like it was kind of analogous to Skyblock because it kind of it forced you to regrind all your gear. Like whenever you died in this game, like a creeper blows you up, all of your items would be sent to a chest like shattered. You wouldn't be able to put on any of that gear until you unshatter it. And the cost would be
what
like
the fuck?
very extravagant. The cost would be like millions and millions of coins, like equivalent. So I was like, this is terrible. Nobody wants to play this game because it has such a negative perception. Because nobody wants to regrind every single time that they, die. That's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I had to spend years. I used up like all of the positive like karma that I built up from developing new content. All of it at once just to get this change through. And listen, I got the change through, and now the player count has doubled over the last couple of years, like since I put
Yeah.
that through. And like it's the type of thing where it seems impossible until it's done. And then when it's done, it seems like it was an inevitability the whole time. Like I had to deal with people like for when we were discussing this. Like I argued, you should have seen me in that internal Discord, bro. I was going in 30 hours, 40 hours, 50 hours of calls, like just talking about how this is the most obvious change ever and nobody wanted to implement it. And that's sometimes what has to be done. That's just what you have to do in order to save something.
Was it
Yeah.
Simon that tweeted no risk, no story?
Yeah, no risk,
Yeah.
no story. And I think that Skyblock needs risk right now. And the biggest risk is alienating all the endgame players. But damn well, I think it's worth it in the
Yeah.
long run if you're able to do it.
Simon-
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's just that, like, bro, I feel like Simon has no fucking idea what's going on with Skyblock, and I think it's like it's sad. It
Yeah.
really is.
I don't disagree.
I think there is a lot of flawed shit where I'm making a big assumption here, but like, bro, the admins are gonna get paid the same if they continue doing slop or not. It's just like,
But they're gonna
what are
lose their
they gonna
job
do
in 3
about it?
years whenever Hypixel shuts down, so they have incentive to
I
make
don't
it
know.
better.
Yeah,
I just gotta find Jaya Varman and just start shaking him and be like, Jaya,
But, like,
Jaya, you need to fix
okay.
your game.
would they
Wake up!
not in any world actually be like? I mean, I feel like it would just have to be more fun to work on a fun update than mining V7, right?
Oh
Sure.
yeah,
But
I
it's
mean,
also
listen,
more
it's not
fun to have a job in 3 years.
This
Yeah,
is also
well,
true.
no, well, yeah, it's both. It's the best of both worlds. Like, I feel like Miniclune is like the prime example of like somebody who made the Rift, which is like an update that if the Skyblock existed would be a perfect update,
Mhm.
and it's like he definitely enjoyed making it. There's no
Yeah.
doubt in his mind. Like, he's very fucking open about it. How he's like he learned
Mhm.
so much shit from it. It was all like jokes and like whatever, and it was just
Mhm.
fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know.
I mean, listen, the goal with this is that an update like this, obviously it would be painful for the community. Some people would be pissed about it, whatever. It wouldn't take that long to make. It would be one of the easiest updates to ever release because a lot of it is just changing numbers, changing code, changing whatever. You know, not a lot of it involves new development. So if you do that, in my view, you know, you have a difficult month where you're just developing this, whatever. Get it out the door. People complain about it. Like I said, break things in the direction. I'd rather things after the update be too easy than too hard still. Too short rather than too long. You can buff things back up later. It's not a big deal. Who cares? You-
No, I wouldn't say that. But
yes, yes. I listen. I've dealt with
Listen,
this. I've dealt
no,
with
no,
it.
no. I just think that it's. I think you put in that like a day of just thinking about it to like
Yeah.
make it to where if anything it's a little too high and not low at all. I think that would be horrible if they
No,
made it.
you would. I think you just have to fully just say, listen. If we're looking at the entire game, I would rather the entire game be slightly too quick to max out. I would rather it be
okay, but I'm just
250
saying where
hours
it's
than
like
500 hours, whatever. Like
I just
and then you can buff things back up like in a week after if you really wanted to. Like that's not going to be a problem.
I just think it's something that when you're talking like about fucking Hypixel, I think it's something that should be okay. Too short shouldn't be a thing. I think it should be relatively like whatever. This is like what pisses me off about what they currently do. I feel like this isn't really talked about enough, like publicly. Like
Mhm.
whoever Hypixel is making up these numbers for these fucking updates needs to I don't know, man. They need to give that job to somebody else because holy fuck, they can't get a single number right, and we can't have that person recalibrate the new Skyblock. Like
They can't do it.
no,
They
it's
can't
like
bring that guy back.
genuinely insane. The people, like not the people, but like
Unironically, the
it's
solution, it's just me and
it
you.
pisses
It's
me
me and
off.
you, Candypat, and we're just going back and forth, and whatever number we can end up agreeing on is whatever
It
gets
may
put
be.
in the game.
That
You gotta
that might be the best
an
thing.
idiot like me, a guy who's like, I want the game to be pathetic, easy baby mode, and a guy like you, and you gotta get us both in a room, and you gotta get us to
Then
figure
find
it
the
out.
average of your numbers.
Exactly.
Yeah. Whatever the average is, that's it. Boom.
I think that would genuinely be the best way to go about it. Because, like,
What do you mean, man? I think Warty Bug is totally reasonable. I don't know what you're talking about. It's totally fair.
it's actually really good. I actually
Yeah.
think the Wardy itself is also really good. I think
it's
that
incredible.
100 hours of a single person grinding Nether War is actually good for a 12 fortune buff. And then
This is
that
very
buff,
true.
and then it's like there's not you can't. It's been a month since the update came out. You can still not buy it off the auction house in one sweep. You need to overpay. You need to. It's oh my god, it's horrible.
Yeah,
And
it's
then it's
abysmal.
like just like every number is just so fucking jank. Like I don't know. It's I hate this game so much. Like peak bestiary was horrible. We've said this multiple times. I don't know if I don't know if we've ever told this directly to you. When bestiary was first like coming out, like we specifically were like, okay, hey, Angry Archaeologist is at 10,000. Maybe we should nerf it a little. I think 10,000 is slightly unreasonable. And then we got told that since we're endgame, our opinion doesn't matter. And then it got pushed to 10k and then got lowered to 3k. So I don't. It's really confusing what happens at Hypixel HQ, but I don't.
So
I
so
don't know.
the wait, did someone on the team say that to you?
I think it was Death Streaks or someone that said it. I don't remember who said who, but that's how it went. Like it just went from, hey, like it shouldn't be 10k, and then it's okay, we're not gonna push it. Like I don't know. It's insane.
I know
don't know
that's part
how
of the reason why
shit-
I agree with you when I say like an update like that would be the most disrespectful update to
Yeah.
the current endgame community. I don't disagree. But I think if you're able to genuinely push something like that and you're saying to them, listen, we're doing this because we want to be able to in the future actually create new endgame content. We want to make something that actually satisfies your itch for like good stuff. Like it has to happen. I think you'll see a lot more people just be like, all right, whatever, that's just how it is.
I don't know.
Sometimes it just has to happen.
I genuinely fully agree with they should just start pushing this shit slowly while not giving a fuck. And
No,
then
not
we would
slowly.
have-
Not slowly. Rapidly.
Fast.
Rapid changes.
Okay, well, yeah,
Rapidly.
yeah, not slowly. I misworded that. I like keep working on it without giving a fuck, and then we go.
Yeah, you just got to do it. Like anything lower, like lower right now is good in my view for a lot of things,
It
and like
seems
near
fully
zero
reasonable.
for some things. Yeah,
I think it would be fully reasonable for this to just happen.
yeah, I
'Cause-
think so as well.
And obviously, it needs to be discussed more, but I do think that getting Simon involved in these things is important because it's like, it's his passion, like, it's his baby, He's
No,
Something
I'm gonna
is
be real.
changing
While it
without
is his
Simon.
baby, he is so preoccupied with Hightail right now. I
That
think getting
is
someone like
true.
Simon involved is like near impossible. Like I tried adding him on Twitter. I pulled at him. I was like, "Yo, what's gonna happen with 1.0? What's the long-term future of Skyblock?" Yeah, and he didn't reply.
I don't
Like,
think no, I don't think that's the right message to say to him. I think we need to like message it in the sense of urgency, because that's how
Yeah.
it kind of was with like when we tweeted about the code. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, there's currently an issue, a active issue with your team purposely like it has to be. That's the best way I'm gonna put it. Purposely declining us.
Mhm.
Can you look into this? And then he's like, oh shit, wait, this is like a big
Yeah, I don't
deal.
disagree. I gotta keep pulling my strings
if you're
first for
just,
a little
like,
bit longer in
the
order to like get
way-
enough of the community on board. But I
Yeah,
agree.
and it needs to be like, it can't just be just us talking about this. It needs to like,
Yeah.
we need to see the public feedback from this video.
I mean, whenever I've talked about it on stream or whenever I've talked about it in videos, like it's always very, very public feedback or positive feedback rather. It's like, yes, this needs to happen. The game needs to be significantly reduced in length. Some people are like a little concerned about how low it would be, but those concerns would be gone like if this were to happen in my view.
100%.
Like a lot of people are just concerned because it just seems radical, and it is extremely radical. It's viewing the game from a totally different lens. It's completely changing out the current like incentive structure for how things operate. But I think if you do it, I think you get to a better game overall. You get to a less toxic game overall, and you get to a game with more overall people playing it. And I think that'll be much better in the long run.
Like the thing that just clicked for me was when we kind of like talked about how you were like, oh, RuneScape is specifically a game where people go on RuneScape and they're like, I'm logging on here and I am dead. Like people log
I'm
on to
locked
that
in.
with the idea that they're gonna spend a fuck ton of hours on a single item.
Yeah.
But then it's like when you talk about early Skyblock, you log on and there's very little stuff to do, but the stuff you're doing is like, okay, you're gonna do dragons or you're gonna do
Mhm.
Slayer. There's no real competition or anything, and it's just like it's a like a genuine sandbox game.
Exactly.
I think
Exactly.
there is just
So this is why the solution, this is my secret all along, the solution is adding Centauri to the hub. We need Centauri in the hub right now. We'll fix the game.
Yeah.
Truly believable. Am I right, Vid?
I think
Yep.
sounds good to me.
Sounds good to me, man. Sounds good to me. Seriously though, I love discussing and I love convincing people of my point of view. It works so well
It-
all the time.
I just we need to fucking ramp up the whole idea of this. That's the issue.
Yeah, I agree. I agree completely, and I'm gonna be ramping it up for sure. I'm gonna
Yeah,
definitely be making a video or two on this because I agree.
it's horrible.
It is. It's the game is in a rough state, and it's in a rough state because everyone sees an alternative as impossible, whereas I see it as an easy and inevitable thing. It needs to happen, and if it
It's
doesn't,
like
the game will die.
they just love their idea of we're just gonna keep introducing shit and hope like none of these updates like I'm gonna quickly go down to the foraging post. Oh my god, why is this shit lagging? But like the foraging post, like none of that stuff was like it was like cool to us players because it's like damn we're playing the game and now we're gonna get a Slayer update. That's cool. But then it's like Year of the Witch, no one's coming back for that.
But I think
Oh
if you
shit, we're adding trophy fishing part 2.
yeah,
Sick, dude.
yeah,
Pet crafting changes was a little 50-50. Like I don't think that needed like that wasn't I don't know. I'm indifferent about that. Slayer content, obviously, that's like
good,
whatever. Mythological V2, that is just like more filler. That is
yeah.
just yeah, there's nothing cool about that update other
Whereas
than just
I think like in my view of how like stuff like that should be done, like I've talked about this briefly. Like mythological V2, in my view, should be fully taking the Diana event and just pushing it onto an actual like its own island that like shows up when Diana is mayor or whenever you want to do it. I don't care if it becomes a yearly event. In my view, it should be a
yeah.
yearly event or something like that. Or like it lasts for a couple Skyblock years or it lasts for a couple Skyblock months out of the year. I don't care, whatever. It should be its own island with 1.21 stuff on it. Like it should be in 1.21. You should build the island around the content. And like it shouldn't be like obviously the grind for Chimera should be there. I think that's great. I think that's one of the few grinds that I really love because it's A, there's player expression. B, the reward isn't just pure stats. It just is a thing that allows you to get more drops theoretically. And also it's an infinite grind for a lot of people. Like people would much rather do Diana for over 1k hours than they would to do garden milestones for
Oh, yeah.
500, 600. Like it's just how it is. I think you can create more grinds like that that are infinite but also somewhat enjoyable and have some level of intrigue behind them.
I think something that we could all come to a conclusion on is that any time gated event is fucking below.
Yeah, I
And
don't
in the
think time
sense
gated
that
events
it's
are
not a
good.
consistent like
Yeah.
I think the Jerry Island is the perfect median of
Yeah.
where it's like
for
yeah
example,
you'll miss some but it's like it's 12 at like they could even make it longer but on like no like whether that's like they need to make it it's perfectly fine. I think that's just
yeah,
the best way to put
I
it.
agree. Like I think you're allowed to do
It's in that.
limited time events when it comes to like stuff like Dante. I think is really great for the game. I wish they did more like it, where like they add the items in afterwards, and it's just sort of
Yeah.
like you had to be there moment. That's awesome, and it's also fine to do just flat stat buffs that aren't like interesting. I think as like limited time things like 20% skill XP. Come back this weekend. Come play. Like that's fine. I don't care about that. But like it gets to the point where you're doing events that are consistently time gated, that can become a problem. You don't want to time gate like things that people probably want to grind repeatedly.
I mean it just fully is a problem. I don't think
Yeah.
there is another way to say that like
Yeah, I agree.
the way that Mayor Cole is currently in the game, like that is perfectly fine. Like no, everyone hates it. It's just that we have to deal with it. That's
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Like I think the solution for that is turning the mayors into just pure stat buff mayors, and then just having the events be a thing that is just they're always
Separate,
around every
and
once in a
they
while.
just get elected and they make their separate things more powerful. Like, oh, I'm Diana,
Yeah.
I come from this place, and whenever you elect me as mayor, I make it so my place is cooler.
Yeah.
Not that it.
I think that would be really good.
Like I don't know,
agree with
if you add, for example, what I was talking about with like an island for the mythological ritual event, Diana could be there, and then when she's mayor, I don't know, maybe there's a higher chance of Inquisitors spawning, or maybe
Yeah.
the Inquisitors have like
Yeah.
I don't know better chances to give you Chimera, so that the rates are similar to right now. And
I've
maybe
been
without it,
saying
it's
this for
slightly
years.
less.
You're speaking my language now, Aurelius. This
Yeah.
is
Well, I mean, I have always thought that. It's just, well, this was a thing in the Mini Clune interview that, like, I heard it and I almost wanted to, like, lose it when he said that. He was basically talking about, like, how if instead of dungeons, like, there could have been a way for Skyblock to get into a mindset of, like, we have the capabilities, the engine to create a ton of islands. And there's, like, a world out there where instead of dungeons, we got, like, 80 Skyblock islands. And I heard that number and it just sounded absurd in my head. And the more I've thought about it, the more I wish I lived in that world, bro. Like, I like dungeons. I think dungeons is great, but I don't think I would take it over 75 other Skyblock islands with things to do on them. You know?
Dungeons was too ahead of its time, I think is
Yeah,
either
I
it's
agree
too
with
ahead
you.
of its time or they should have just honestly never added master.
Yeah,
Either
master mode was
or,
probably a mistake.
yeah. I think
Yeah,
if they just flat out kept it to because you also there's been so many changes specifically for like not specifically for master mode, but it changes to dungeons that wouldn't have happened if F7 was still just a mess.
it's
And
true.
it's just like wasted developer time on shit like that.
Yeah,
So
I agree. I agree completely. Like, at this point, like my view of stonking is that they just need to full add it into 1.21. They just need to make it a feature, and they just need to update dungeons to 1.21 with it. Like, that's just what needs to happen. Mostly because
I
if you're able to get the whole game to 1.20, you can do like EU servers and stuff like that, which are probably needed.
in no world should they have any fucking remorse for oh shit, wait, we need to wait for 1.20 to come out because of stonking. Like shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up. Bad stonking. Who cares, bro? Like, come on now.
Remove genuinely if it means remove like they shouldn't remove stonking. I think stonking's a cool feature, but like
I'm super in favor of keeping it at this point. I
yeah,
think it adds to the skill ceiling. I think it's super interesting. I think you just get rid of terminals. Is my view on F7. Just get rid of it. Nobody's actually doing the terminals. Everyone's just using a mod. Just have the gate immediately fall. Have you fight both. Like I think it's Goldor
dude,
and Necrom at
that
once. I don't know.
that is another thing that pisses me off. Stop adding shit into the game that you know will like have a solver day one.
Yeah,
Why is
like
that
just
a
it doesn't need to
fucking oh
exist.
my god, it pisses me off. Like
Literally, you
yeah,
do that, and I think you add a dungeon pickaxe in for clear, and then you're fine. I don't think anyone would have a need to do anything else at that point. Like the biggest point of stonking for M7 is pre-dev and I4 and stuff like that. And like I don't know, if you just do that, you get rid of the terminals entirely, which I think there's no point in them existing. It's fine.
yeah.
But anyway, that's my view of the game at this point.
I
Yeah, I
mean,
think
I
that
think we've
is
covered it all. I'm not sure if
pretty
there's
good.
anything else we
Yeah,
need to talk about.
yeah,
We just need to be radical, like
yeah.
just advocate, just like constantly whining on Twitter saying that this game is
Just
going to
whine,
be
whine,
dead.
I mean,
whine.
there's no other way to go around it because I like it's not like this is something that's like in any sense being talked about through the admins. This is just like fully within the 100 people, not 100 people because you talk like probably 1,000 people know about this like general topic and are for it.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
then there's also the 100,000 people that act. I don't know what the number would be. I'm guessing 100,000 that like
I would guess
unique
more. I would
people.
guess potentially millions of people could be interested in the game if
Well,
you do everything listed.
no, I mean like concurrent like
Oh yeah.
unique daily player count would probably be
Yes.
like 100,000.
Yes, I agree. I think you can get to
And
100,000 with that.
those are people you could genuinely reach about the subject. And then if you have 100,000 people with this fucking idea in their mind, then it's like, maybe we should think about it. So
Mhm. This is true. I completely agree.
I think that's pretty much it though. I think we've fucking
We solved Skyblock. Skyblock will be saved. We will save
there's
it.
peace again between the
Yeah, we
fucking
did it. I did it again. This is 2 interviews in a
no,
row
you
that
did.
I've came back, bro.
You did.
Now, I thought I was gonna get cursed out today. And listen, I will say at the start of the interview, I think before we started recording, you guys said you wouldn't agree with me this time, and that I'm insane and I'm crazy for this one. I'm not crazy.
It's like I think we've not dumbed it down, but like in my head, maybe it's like we're like slightly altered of our full like what our dream Skyblock would look like. But I think we've kind of settled the fact that the main fact of what should change in this game.
Yes. Yes. And it's just sheer time investment. You gotta respect people's time, even if that
Yeah.
means the current players will not be I'm sorry to current players.
It's very
Um,
counterintuitive, but
Yeah.
it's just fucking.
I'll lose 1,000 endgame players to gain 1,000,000 average
Yeah.
players.
It's not even
I-
1,000 endgame players. It's
I
like
don't even think those players would even quit. They're so addicted. I don't think anything can get them to
no,
quit.
they
Like, let's
wouldn't
be real.
quit. They wouldn't quit if like, dude, if you told me that like this would cause 2-week updates that are genuinely enjoyable and not just okay, we're adding Force XPV2, then like yeah,
Yeah.
sure, I'd be all for it. But like
Mhm.
if you're like okay, we're gonna add this and then we're adding fucking if we're adding another hard fuck off. That's just my whole way about it.
Don't worry. We're gonna get Dance V2. They're gonna update the dance in the Rift. They're gonna make it give 178 Skyblock XP. It's gonna be very fair.
Please.
Don't get me excited. That sounds awesome.
Don't get me
Dude, the
excited.
fact that
This is
people
incredible.
dude, it's so fucking easy. I'm not gonna lie. Like
It is easy, joke side.
it's so like I don't as of recent, like past the first time I ever did it, I've always been able to consistently do it within my first to second try.
The Yachty PayPal incident.
What did Yachty do? What did he IRL trade?
I think it was like what that Yachty
When-
was like, oh, you can't do it within your first attempt or some shit.
Yeah,
And then-
whenever we were doing that like speedrun to hype series, we were in the Rift, and I made a bet with Yachty. I bet him $20 that I couldn't do the full like tiny dancer talisman on my first try, and I put in a clause that said unless if I die to lag, because obviously I can't stop that. And I did die to lag on the first attempt, and then the second attempt I got it, but then he didn't want to pay me because he was like, "Oh, I didn't know about the lag."
the
In all
Yachty,
fairness-
the Yachty PayPal incident.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate. He said, "All right, I'll $20 on the first try." Yachty said deal, and he's like, "But only if I don't die." Like then he
Yeah, he
added
said
the
yes
if
afterwards.
lag. Then he added the lag part, which to be fair, it's like if you die to like that should just be a fucking moral thing of okay, whatever, I'll let it slide by. But at the same time, you could also be like, yeah, fuck you. So
Yeah,
$20
come
is
on, I'm
$20.
not actually paying you either way, bro. You're not getting a dime.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you for coming on. I really do want to do more of these. I think
Yeah, these are fun.
we should
Get
I don't.
Kawazar on here and hear his opinions about the game.
The
We'll
thing is,
definitely-
I don't know how you feel, Aurelius, but I like having you as a like you would be cool to have as a mainstay. Like we don't have any.
You know what? I'm down. I'm so down. I feel
Make
like
it-
I bring a lot of interesting things to the table.
Yeah, and it also adds-
I'm a radical guy.
It's more dynamic. It's like it adds an extra dynamic because Pat and I have mostly similar opinions, but you're able to step
Yeah.
in and be like, yeah, no, that sucks.
Yeah, that's
Um,
ass, bro.
So I don't know.
I appreciate it though. Appreciate the discussion. I hope when you upload this in mid 2026, we're uploading this because everything I said happened, and not because the game is dead and we need our last little viewership numbers. Code Pat, Code Candy. I think it's Code Candy, right?
Yeah.
Or Code Rail.
You guys should have done Code Pat. That would have been so much funnier.
I don't. It's a
We
50-50.
debated because Pat is shorter, but Candy is like alliteration, and I feel like the alliteration
Yeah.
sticks better.
Code Candy. Yeah.
Anyways,
true.
yeah, no, this should be up probably tomorrow, right?
Okay. Awesome. Sounds good.
Maybe tomorrow I have. We'll see. There's a lot of. I don't know if you even read the DM I sent you, Vid, but we got
I don't. Think
we got
so.
work to do.
we got work to do. You guys got work to do.
All right.
We're
Well,
fucking
alright.
we're protesting, so
I'm ending
And
the
we gotta
recording.
start protesting tomorrow.